Welcome to Bristol Legal, a show dedicated to legal issues that are relevant to residents of Bristol County and beyond. My name is Elizabeth Nowakowski, and I'm the Assistant Professor of Paralegal Studies here at Bristol Community College. Today we have a great guest. I'm very pleased to have with us Attorney Steve Marshalek, who is the Chief of the Southeastern Massachusetts Division of Attorney General's Office of Massachusetts. Whew, that was a mouthful. Does it fit on your business card?
Just barely.
Just barely. Well, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming. And to get started, maybe we can tell our viewers, maybe you can tell our viewers generally about the Attorney General's Office. What does it do? Why does it exist? And what its role? We know that the Attorney General is Attorney Maura Healey, the people's lawyer, right?
That's right.
Can you just tell us a little more about it at the higher level?
Sure. The Attorney General is the Chief Law Enforcement Officer for the Commonwealth, so she has jurisdiction over a lot of different legal issues and matters throughout the Commonwealth. We have various divisions and handle a lot of different things, and I think that's what we're going to be getting into today in regards to a lot of the different things that the Attorney General's office does. But it's a statewide office, constitutionally created, and 4-year terms, and it's an elected position. And you're right, Maura Healey is the Attorney General. That's
great. Thank you. And there are different, like you mentioned, there are different divisions. I think they're called bureaus, right?
There are.
When I was looking at them, some of them I didn't even know existed, because sometimes I think we hear about the divisions, or I don't know what they're called, within those bureaus. And one of them that always I found intriguing is the Criminal Bureau,
right.
Because there are prosecutors involved at the Attorney General's office, and I think often we think prosecutors, it's the DA's,
right.
sort of the district attorney's territory to prosecute crimes. How does that fit in the world of sort of criminal law that we know that usually belongs to the DA's?
Right. That's a question that we get a lot of. A lot of times say, oh, I say where I work, and they say, oh, I know who the district attorney is. It's Tom Quinn. And I say, oh, no, that's the DA. This is the Attorney General. It's a little bit different. Right. The district attorney's office, and I know you've had DA Quinn on previously, they handle criminal matters throughout the Commonwealth, and District Attorney Quinn is obviously the Bristol County DA, and he handles matters criminal matters specifically in Bristol County. The Attorney General does have jurisdiction to handle criminal matters throughout the state. She certainly can handle some of the matters that the district attorney handles if it's necessary. But what I think, in my own little world of Southeastern Massachusetts, we don't have a criminal division, criminal assistant attorney generals there. But how it differs from the district attorney is that we probably would handle a little bit more types of cases that are a little bit more in depth, a lot more investigation. A typical assault and battery or something like that the district attorney would handle. That's not probably something that we'd get into. Ours might be more of the white collar crime, more of the fact specific. A lot of different things going on that you have to do a lot of research, a lot of investigations. That's more likely what our office would handle throughout the state. So. Yes, we may handle a lot of the same things as the district attorney's office. I think a lot of times the district attorney may get a case and say, geez, I think this might be something that the attorney general might have be better suited to handle, so we would work in conjunction with the district attorney as well.
So what comes to mind is usually maybe the fraud cases, and maybe if it impacts more people,
correct,
that may go to more, to sort of the Attorney General's office.
Sure.
Versus,
I mean, you think about it. Sometimes, I mean, if a case is occurred in Bristol County, but it's also occurring throughout the state and other various jurisdictions throughout the state, it might be better for the Attorney General to step in and handle it, something like that, rather than the DAs trying to work themselves, various parts. I mean, I think we'll probably maybe talk a little bit about the drug cases and that sort of thing. Certainly, the district attorney district attorney handles a lot of those types of cases, but our office is very involved in drug cases as well, and working with the state police, prosecuting at a higher level, perhaps, of the drug trafficking and going after the bad actors as opposed to the street level. I think more going after the higher.
Really, I wasn't aware of that.
Sure. Oh yeah. We have a state. We work with the state police, and the state police are involved in their office, and they're constantly investigating and trying to prosecute various bad actors in the drug world.
Because the recent one is, if I recall, that's been in the news, especially in the local news in Attleboro, was the It was that was something else. I'm sorry, I scratched that. But there was the general talk about the drug rehabilitation centers, right?
Right.
And the fraud that's been going on there.
Right.
So I know that the Attorney General's office has been involved in those.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, and as I said, I'm no expert on it, but I understand that, a lot of these folks are very vulnerable. They're going to seek help. They're trying to get out of the problems that they're facing. And to think about it, if you're going to help and you're going to a place and this place is not really there to, not doing any service by going there. So our office, we look at those types of things to make sure that these places are reputable and that they're doing what they're supposed to do.
And so maybe we can talk about your office. Can you give us some background on, there are 3, I believe, right, regional offices.
There are.
Springfield, Worcester, and New Bedford.
Right.
So this one is called Southeastern.
Correct.
So I assume that it's not really, there are no clear boundaries. So I always say if I had a friend from Northern Mass visiting here, they can still come and
yeah, we'll let them in. Yeah, we're located in New Bedford, and I'm sure we'll probably talk about it a little bit later. But 105 William Street in downtown New Bedford. It is one of the 3 regional offices that the Attorney General that our office has. The Worcester, Springfield, and us. The main office obviously is in Boston. In Boston.
That's right.
And I think. Maybe go further, why regional offices were created. You think about it, a lot of the folks, and we've in New Bedford and I know in Fall River, the idea of going to Boston to try to file a complaint or to talk to someone, it's foreign to them. It would be very difficult for them to do. I think what's unique about the regional offices is the idea that you can pretty much walk in off the street and try to talk to someone and get some help. Or perhaps dial a local number, which we have, to talk to someone local, to know that you're speaking with someone that's in the community, and I think folks need to know that that we're one of them, that we understand what's going on. So I think that's a unique thing. It's been the office. I've been there for 16, 17 years now. So and I think it opened up maybe 1 or 2 years before that. So it's great that we have them, and I know the Attorney General probably wishes she could have more, because it's nice to be able to be in the communities involved as what's going on.
And how many employees do you have there?
There are 12 of us there. Not everybody is an Assistant Attorney General. A lot of people have different roles, and we talked earlier about how huge my office, the Attorney General's office is, and what they do. We certainly don't have the ability to do a lot of those things in our little New Bedford world. But what we have is some Assistant Attorney General that handle various things that we can talk about. We have some individuals that work, that are investigators that specifically deal with labor issues and people that may have been wronged by their employer. So our office can try to look into that. We've got some folks that handle insurance issues. They may feel that they were wronged by their insurance carrier. They may be having difficulties with a claim. We've got a mediator that can try to help people, talk to people through that. We've got individuals that work for, which we call CARD, which is the Consumer Advocacy Response Division. That is really, I think, a regional office's bread and butter in regards to how it can help folks in the community, and I'd like to perhaps talk a little bit about that. If you feel that you've been wronged by a business, a lot of times it's car dealers, it could be utilities, it could be, landlord tenant. There could be some things going on. If you feel that you've been wronged and you don't know where to turn, our office is a place to at least start. So there's hotlines available that you can call, talk to someone, and that person will maybe try to give you some answers. It won't be with an attorney, but it'll be someone that has knowledge specific as to what the particular problem that you have. And they'll try to give you some answers and maybe do a little bit of, say, investigation, but they'll probably reach out to the business that feels that you feel that you've been wronged and to talk and say, we've received this call, this complaint. We'd like to talk about it. Is there something we can do it's called mediation, and that's what we try to, that's what these folks that work in the car division do fantastic work mediating all types of things.
Do you think that many of of the residents, viewers, citizens of the Commonwealth may not know where to turn when they have an issue? Generally, just sort of, do you think, because once you know, it's a great start, right? Once you get on that phone and you know your options, Do you think that some may not even know that you exist still?
Well, I think that's probably why I'm here, because I think the idea of, what does the Attorney General do and how we can help people, it's a message that we're trying to get out there, and we have for a long time. So, yeah, to answer your question, yes, there's a lot of folks that don't know what we can do, and when they realize how we can help, a lot of them are surprised or perhaps saddened that they didn't come to us sooner, because I think we do get positive results. We have, in an effort to get the message out and to folks, so to let them know what we do, we have another division, which is called the Community Engagement Division. Now, what do? They're the folks assigned to our office that their role is to get out into the community, to let folks know exactly what we do. How do they do that? Well, they perhaps prepare on shows like this. There's a number of events locally that people have, senior citizen centers. So we may table that event. We may get out there and we have lots of brochures with lots of information. So we'd be there and people in the community can come out and see that we're there, and we can perhaps maybe not answer their questions, but give them information to let them know that we are there for a resource. So the Community Engagement Division, another division that was created specifically with the Attorney General, Maura Healey, their role is to get the word out as to what we do.
So there must be quite a few hotlines
God, there is. There's the.
I mean, if you want to just mention, we'll have the phone numbers listed of the key ones that you think would be the most relevant at the end of the show. But if you could just mention a few that are out there.
We've got, I'm looking down at my paper because there's so many of them. There's an elder hotline. Well, some elders have some questions or issues specific to them. They can perhaps call and talk to an individual there in our office that deals with that types of things. We mentioned briefly the Fair Labor Division.
Yes.
And that's an important division that I do want to talk about, because I said that is something that we have here locally. But so many times, so many people feel that they've been wronged by their employer. Perhaps they feel that they were let go and maybe not properly, or perhaps they were let go and owed wages. There's a lot of those types of things. So what our office will do is people can contact our office through another hotline or file a complaint online, and they will investigate these types of complaints to see exactly what was going on. And because a lot of employees don't realize that they have certain rights, that if you're asked to leave the job, I think you're entitled to get pay and not have to chase the employer to pay you. And a lot of folks don't realize that. So I think that's something that our office really does a great job in trying to help folks. We've got, we've got a lot of auto-related things. I mean, there are a lot of fantastic, I'm sure, auto dealers that do job the right way, but there are some bad actors out there, and so a lot of the calls that we get have to deal with an issue that an individual had with buying a new or most likely a used car. And so we try to encourage people to contact us sooner rather than later, because a lot of the rights, a lot of the warranties that they have, don't last forever. So it's important that they contact us to let us know what's going on, and we'll try to talk to the dealer to see exactly what's happened. Now, we certainly can't. I'm an attorney. We have a number of attorneys in the office. Just because you come to the Attorney General's office doesn't mean that you get me or my coworkers as an attorney to go after someone. That's not how it works. We just don't have the resources to do it. How it would happen is if a business, well, we've been talking businesses, if a business was a really bad actor that affected, and we got a lot of complaints, because obviously we recorded all these complaints that we have. If we get a lot of complaints from a particular business and we see that they are really bad actors, that might be something that we would take an enforcement action on and try to go after them civilly, our office, and handle it for the interest of the people of the Commonwealth.
So when you say enforcement action, what does it really mean?
Well, I mean, I don't want to get too technical here, but there's unfair, deceptive acts. I mean, basically, if a business is supposed to deal fairly with their customers, and if we find out that they're not doing that, and this isn't just a one-time thing, an accident, this is something that sometimes it's their business practice to deal unfairly. If we find that, we can go after the business to make sure that they stop, have them pay penalties, and certainly try to get restitution for the folks that have been harmed.
So that's the point I wanted to get at. There is potential if the Attorney General's office decides to pursue that avenue to get restitution for those that were harmed.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
and that's cases that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. But as I said, we can't do it for every case that comes through. But if we find out that there's a particular business that are wronging some folks, our office will give the okay to see what we can do to make it stop.
So you sort of alluded to it already, but what would you say were the top, actually let me back up. So we have the hotlines. Now, are the hotlines in Boston, or there are some in New Bedford, or is it just sort of, how does that work?
It's a good question. The hotline is a hotline number. So,
number,
but
yeah.
I will say that the folks in the office take turns or assigned various times. So if you call the hotline, I'm not going to lie, you may get someone in Springfield that's answering the call, but that doesn't mean that person doesn't. That person is pretty much assigned to that call because they have expertise in doing it. So. There are times that you're going to get someone far away, but that doesn't. I think if the case eventually goes to some sort of a mediation or something, you'll probably be dealing with someone locally. Yeah.
So that's one of the ways to contact the Attorney General's office, to the hotline, like you just mentioned, you may end up. It doesn't matter who you're talking to. You're going to talk to an expert. That's the bottom line.
You're going to talk to someone I think that knows what they're doing, and there are various and quite frankly, if you're calling a hotline and then that person may not have the expertise, or you may be shopping at the wrong place.
Yeah.
They'll transfer you to someone that knows that's a better understanding of what your problem is.
Now, what about walk-ins? You have a great location. I've been there, and it's a beautiful place. And what kind of cases, if any, or situations could the residents come to the office with?
Well, we're not going to turn anybody away. So I mean, if we're there to help, and our boss encourages us to help everybody, and we try to. So I will say a lot of times people are coming into the office, and it may not be something that our office handles at all. It might be a totally different state agency, but the folks that are at the front of our office that deal with the walk-ins have a pretty good understanding how state government works. And so if we can't help you, we try to send you to the place that can. Okay. So first of all, but we encourage, I think the ideal, as you said, the regional office, it's ideal because of the ability to be able to come in off the street. That's Boston. It'd be very difficult to do that in Boston. I don't think they get many walk-ins that fall there. But the regional offices, we encourage it. So if you come in off the street with a problem, we will we'll take some information from you. There are various forms that, depending on the problem, that we have you fill out, and we'll process it from there. You don't have to come in. You can certainly access the forms on the internet, and the mass.gov is our website, and all the forms are available there. You can print them up, you can send them that way, and they'll get processed. We don't, we get a lot of phone calls, but just because you called, we can get some various information, but we do require that you fill out. We have a complaint that you fill out and get to us.
Now, what about in terms of? I know you mentioned CARD,
right? Yep.
Consumer
Advocacy Response Division.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't quite have it.
That's right.
I know you wanted to talk about it, but it's probably related to my question. What would be the top 3 areas of law or complaint that you get in New Bedford office? Okay.
I think you can pretty safely say that buying a car is something that will get consistent throughout the year. A lot of it does depend on the time of year, though. You think about it, there's people, maybe around this time of year when you start getting your tax refunds, they maybe get more apt to get more car complaints because there's more activity that way. Sometimes we'll get complaints regarding home modifications, home repair.
So that's in the summer, right?
That's in the summer. That's when people start getting their houses. They try to fix up their houses. Maybe some problems with, I don't know. Retail is well, when you think about retail, probably around the holiday season, perhaps you might get some issues with that. So a lot of it, we get a lot of stuff throughout the year, but more specific, I think we'll see the intake, uptick in auto now, home improvement in the spring.
In the spring.
Yeah.
So tell us more about the card.
Well, they, as I said, they're consumer specialists that really are trained to deal with a lot of the consumer issues that people face, and that a lot of it's changing too. So I think they stay up on it as to what's going on, and perhaps what some of the scams are, and how to help folks if they feel that they've been a victim of a scam, to try to help folks with them. And a lot of time we've got folks will come in off the street or call and say, hey, I got this letter that says I'm going to get all this money, and all I have to do is send some money to whatever the letter says, and more money will come my way. And some folks think that and the letters look really, really legit, and it would fool you, so they think a lot of times that people will be taken advantage of. So a lot of times people will come off the street and they'll show us something. They say, what do you think? Is this a scam? And we'll take a look at it and see what if it's something that we've seen. A lot of times we'll get phone calls, or people come in regarding phone calls that they get. Is this a scam? The IRS is calling me saying I owe all this money. Is that a scam?
IRS never calls you,
They
right?
don't call you, right? I mean, they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But a lot of folks feel, but it sounds like it's legit, and people think it's the IRS. Oh my gosh, I better do what they say, because I'm going to be in even more trouble. So we'll get calls and folks about that. A lot of times what we deal with, I don't think I mentioned this, was the in regards to mortgages and so something like that. We try to assist folks, or if people are having difficulty with their mortgage, there are folks that in our office that can discuss or talk about modifications, or just kind of assisting folks that may be having some difficulties, or perhaps giving them some guidance regarding their mortgage. So we've got folks specifically that are trained to talk about that.
You mentioned the phone calls, you mentioned the mail, and some of the fraud related to that.
Yep.
What about internet? Have you seen any, is your office, and I speak generally, not just New Bedford, involved in any of that? Because that's obviously an issue.
I think they are. As I said, that's one thing I'm no expert on, but I know that our office has the ability and definitely is involved in that type of.
It's harder to prosecute
it, to go after. Yeah, you got to be.
Right?
Oh yeah, we've got some smart folks in the office that's what they deal with, and they're very good.
Maybe we should have them on the show next
time.
time.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll see what I can do. Yeah,
that would be great. You mentioned one thing earlier, Assistant Attorney General.
Yes.
Can you just tell us who those people are and what they do?
Well, we're lawyers. We went.
So are you one?
I am. I am one of. I don't have the answer to how many assistant attorney generals there are in the Commonwealth,
sure
but there's quite a few of us, and they're, we went to law school. We're lawyers, and we do a lot of things. I mean, we talked just briefly about some of the things our office does, but what else can we do? Well, in my office, if someone perhaps. Heck, we're here at Bristol Community College, right? Someone could slip and fall here at the college and feel that the college perhaps didn't do what they were supposed to do, so they could commence a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Well, who's going to handle the lawsuit for the college? It's going to be the Attorney General's office. So we represent state agencies in cases that are brought against them. Some of the fine folks, the state police, they're out on the road all the time, and every once in a while there's going to be perhaps some sort of an accident, and people could feel that the state police were at fault. So if they sue the state police, we would represent the state police. So yeah, sure. What else so basic, and I think with our office, a lot of the assistant attorney generals are assigned to specific divisions within the office, and they handle those specific types of cases. What's unique about the New Bedford office is it's almost like a general law practice.
Yeah.
We handle a variety of things, like we talked about. Not criminal, but there's a lot of things that we will handle internally, and so we're not really The assistant attorney generals, some of them are assigned in our office, are not assigned to a specific division, so they will handle consumer protection cases, administrative law cases, trial cases, so that we dabble in a lot of different things.
You know, what's really amazing and striking is how many various areas the Attorney General's office covers.
Right.
And you know, you just mentioned, you know, representing the state agencies, and you have the consumer, and you have the elderly, opioid. I mean,
Right.
it's almost everywhere. I mean, so I guess because Attorney General is a people's lawyer, right, representing the residents of Massachusetts.
Right.
I guess it sort of makes sense that every aspect of our life sometimes, you know, may run into a legal. It has a legal aspect to it.
Right.
And we don't have enough time to cover every one of them. So I wanted to mention the website, right?
Right.
So I think. I know that Attorney General has a website, but also I can't stress enough, and I tell my students all the time, you know, if you ever have a question, go to mass.gov. And
Right.
I can't stress enough, you know, you just Google, let's say you have an issue with the car and it's a weekend and you guys are closed.
Right.
You know, the office is closed. Go to mass.gov, put lemon law in the Google search, and you're going to make sure it's a
All sorts of
reliable source. I
information.
can't stress enough, make
Right.
sure it's a reliable source. But it will give you a feel for what your rights are, whether you even, you know, have you passed the deadlines, and because there's so much.
Everything's there. It is, and I think we've actually just the state has just modified, I think improved on the website. So there's even more information on there. You can still go on mass.gov. You're going to get a lot of information specific with the Attorney General's office or anything that can help you through the state. There was one other thing I just wanted to mention because I want to promote my office as much as I can. There's also a division. It's called the Abandoned Housing. Well, it's an initiative, Abandoned Housing Initiative. What it is, and we're very involved with this in local communities. A lot of properties become vacant. Their people move out. Their banks they may have been late on their mortgage. The banks have asked them to leave. And people leave. Well, a lot of times the banks don't do anything with these properties once that's happened, and so the properties sit there vacant and actually become in a lot worse shape than when the folks were living there.
Hazard, right?
Absolutely, I mean, it's a blight on the community, and they show up, and no one wants to live next door to one of these. Well, our office is in Fall River, New Bedford, a lot of communities, Brockton, Taunton, Swansea, Somerset. We're in a lot of communities where we're working with these communities to try to rehabilitate these properties. Well, how does that work? There's a statute that allows our office to go into a court and to tell the court that this property is vacant, this property is run down, there's a lot of sanitary code violations, and our office can ask the court to order the owners to fix, and if the owner refuses to do so, our office can have a receiver appointed to do the work. Then the receiver can recoup the money that he puts into the property at the end. So we don't have enough time to get into it now, but it's called the Abandoned Housing Initiative, and it's something that I think you'll see. We've done a lot in New Bedford. We're starting to do more and more, and I think in Fall River we should be doing more. So it's something that you're going to see, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And your office is specifically.
Our office is specifically involved with that. We've got 3 assistant attorney generals that handle these types of cases, and we talked a little bit about community engagement. What better way of community engagement to get out in the community and going on these inspections and seeing these properties turn and.
Make a huge difference in the community.
It really does.
Absolutely.
It really does.
I think we are out of time.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Steve, for joining us today. I think it was very informative. I learned tons about the office, and hopefully we can have you back on the show in a couple of months, and you can tell us about maybe new initiatives that the office is having.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching, everyone. If you have any suggestions on future legal topics that you'd like to see on the show, just send me an email that you can see below. Thank you for watching.